friends, welcome back to my channel. Can you believe I have a book review? Let's talk for a second. I have been plowing through books lately, but I have been struggling to find sufficient filming time. So sadly, the book reviews have fallen to the wayside in regards to prioritizing videos, but I am determined today to talk to you about With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is the second book from this author. I read earlier in the year, Clap When You Land. I have a whole review on it, and I basically agreed with myself that I was going to then read the rest of her novels that she has, and I've done that. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So this is a break from her previous novel that I had read. This is not written in poetic form. This is a straight up regular expected type of novel. I was a little bit caught off guard when I picked it up from the library because I didn't realize that, but I gotta tell you, I like her writing style in this form and in her poetry form. I thought both of them were really interesting and really well done. I'll also say that now that I've read, this is the second, but I've also read all three of her books, I have noticed some clear trends in all three, no matter what format she's writing in, which I think is really interesting. So let's go ahead and talk specifically about this plot. So the central character of this story is named Emily, I think I'm saying that correctly, Santiago, and she is a teenager living in Philadelphia, and she is a teenage mother. She got pregnant when she was 15, and so the story is focused on her 3 years later as a senior in high school, trying to navigate all the complexities of senior year on top of also being a mother. She struggles to understand what she's going to do with the rest of her life, as well as balancing the expectations of motherhood while she herself is still growing into adulthood. For her life situation, she's being raised by her grandmother, and her grandmother has done her best to also support Emily's daughter named Emma. The other layer to that is the baby's father. Emma's father is involved slightly in Emma's life, and so Emily is struggling to balance, not being with her baby daddy and also dealing with the idea of how do you balance those different things, new relationships, expectations of new relationships, and it really navigates all of her things senior year. The biggest thing that becomes clear at the start of the story is that she is quite gifted in the culinary world. She can sort of cook instinctually, and her grandmother and all, her best friend really appreciate her cooking and always tell her how delicious her recipes are. This unfolds in a way at school when there is a culinary arts class that becomes available for her to take, and she is quite challenged in that class because no longer is she supposed to just use her instincts and her preferences when cooking. She has to learn how to operate under a system, under someone else's control of how to function in that kind of structure, and it really is a challenge for her. She also meets a boy in her class named Malachi, and he poses different challenges to her because she very much doesn't have time for boys, as she puts it, and she really wants to focus on taking care of herself and her daughter, and she's quite mature in that way. But of course, she struggles because she does find him attractive, she does feel some kind of way for him, and she's navigating all the trickery parts of that piece of her life. She also struggles because she is gifted, and clearly her teacher in her culinary arts class recognizes that, but he also needs to teach her the importance of making sure that she can operate under someone else's guidance, because in the culinary world, she's not going to start at the very top. She'll start at the bottom and have to work her way up. So she struggles with that, and it becomes even more of a struggle when she realizes that the class has a trip to Spain. And for somebody who is not affluent, for somebody who's a young mother, that's a really big hurdle for her to overcome. So this novel offers a lot, and I really did like it. My only complaint is that when it comes to paying for the trip to Spain, things sort of fall in place a little bit too easily, and that didn't feel entirely realistic. But aside from that piece of it, I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed being a part of a different writing style for this author. I'll definitely say that strong-headed female characters are still very much a part of this. Independence and wanting to be your own person are still a part of those themes, and I just really liked the voice of this and the character development. I really found it interesting to read, and I was pleased with it overall. So definitely recommend it, especially if you have written this author off because you're not going to read poetry. I think this offers another take of her voice that I really did like. So 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend. I would love to know if you have read this book. If so, what your thoughts on it are compared to especially any of her poetry-based novels. I hope that you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on this, and I will talk to you in my next video real soon.